Fred, that's a bad joke, Fred.
Go ahead, Fred.
It wasn't even a joke. I just said you're, a huge fan.
See, and now you know what.
Yeah. Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhyme that
okay, let's move on to episode 8 again.
Too much BJ. Too much BJ.
Poor BJ.
Yeah.
Poor BJ. Listen, he still looks good though. I'm gonna give him credit for that.
Yeah.
You give him credit for that every single episode.
Yeah, because I can't believe how this motherfucker. I'm getting older episode to episode.
I know.
I see more fucking wrinkles and all types of shit. Meanwhile, BJ out here slinging it. I'm sure.
Yep.
And has one good game against the Bulls. And gets like 20 minutes of this episode dedicated to the ass whooping that MJ then had to. But listen, we get the MJ cigar baseball bat moment.
Oh my God.
Which I saw a hilarious meme today about, and this is R-rated.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
He's holding the bat and has a cigar, and the bat says, what does it say? It says me at 3 a.m. and then the bat says my meat. Probably started anyway. Childish even mentioned that.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
This shit cracked me up, but Fred is enjoying that. You know what's for episode 8? I can't say. You know what's funny? I just wrote poor BJ, poor LeBradford Smith.
No, it's about his competitiveness. It's about
poor
his
Nick Anderson. It's essentially about players who. Well, it's also about correct. Yeah, it's about the competitiveness. We see the price of winning, and now we're getting into the logistics of what he did to get up every day.
The manic competitiveness that would like you have to be insane. Mm-hmm. You can't be totally normal. To be able to get to that height where you convince yourself of stuff that isn't true, that you believe is true in the moment.
I almost wondered, actually, when I was watching this, I wrote down Mike's alter ego, and I almost wondered if he's a little bit. He's not really technically bipolar. It's more like having dual personalities that exist. And the only reason is because I relate to this in a certain way. We've talked about this yesterday, where I'm so paranoid, where I think everyone is slighting me everywhere I go all the fucking time. And Michael has this. So first, let's start with BJ, because this is really leading up to LeBradford Smith in a moment. Let's start with BJ Armstrong. So BJ hits one shot on him against the Hornets. And the only reason I want to bring this up is because Glenn Rice becomes another victim. We talked about this yesterday, but I want to talk about it again and get Fred's perspective on this. Glenn Rice becomes a victim. What's the word I'm trying to think of here? When he is not the direct result, he is God, what's the word?
Casualty?
Not a casualty, but he is
like a bystander.
Yeah, like a bystander. By osmosis, he takes the brunt of this. BJ hits one shot on MJ in game 2. All right, and starts talking mad cash money shit to MJ. And I think Glenn Rice's career pays the price for this, because Glenn Rice, as we talked about yesterday, Vic, Glenn Rice is never the same. He essentially drops 8 points a game. He's 29 years old. Take that with it, whatever, you know what I mean? But there was a time, and we did a podcast talking about Glenn Rice, how I thought listen, I realized watching this documentary, actually, that aside from Chuck, even though Chuck becomes a shooter later on, I had a thing for shooters growing up. I fucking loved BJ Armstrong for no reason at all other than he shot. I fucking loved Reggie Miller. I loved Glenn Rice. And all these guys were shooters. You know what I mean? And now I'm a fucking shooter. Like, I shoot anything. I'm worse than Alec Burks out here. You know what I mean? Every red light is green to me. I've been running red lights for years in real life. You know what I mean? Let's talk about that. You know what I mean? Slowly creeping through red lights, horn beep real quick sometimes, hitting people, whoever. Listen, you on the road, watch yourself. All right? Brian is out. The Ford Edge is on the prowl. All right. So Glenn Rice's career never is the same after this series. You know what I mean? That Hornets uniform is never the same. In fact, MJ owns the Hornets so bad that he now literally owns the Hornets.
Yeah, man. Facts.
They say, here, take the franchise.
I wrote down BJ tugs on Superman's cape.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's a good way of putting it.
He tugs on the cape, and then the next day he's sitting in the locker room with that baseball bat, thinking about bashing BJ's fucking head in with it.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's nothing like wanting to teach somebody a lesson, man.
It's the perfect in hip hop. In hip hop, the saying in hip hop is your arm's too short to box with God. That's been said a million times. Or like the more popular saying is don't throw rocks in a glass house. And that's essentially what MJ does here. What BJ does here. And MJ has the ultimate fucking Game of Thrones I'm gonna murder you moment with the that spiel he gives, which is fantastic. You know what I mean?
It's beautiful.
That is a man of absolute confidence and commitment who will say it's easy to talk shit when you're ahead. But let's see when the score is 0-0, which is the not cocky thing to say, right? Is the I'm confident. When it's 0-0, let's see who comes out on top. But then he has to go a step further because it's MJ. Or when you're down. You know what I mean? Still talk shit. And you know what? Let me rope this into the one thing, because I don't think MJ gets credit for being a real big shit talker. Like when people say who are the biggest shit talkers of all time, they always go to Reggie. They always go to Larry Bird.
Really? I think he does.
Yeah, I don't think every conversation when I see like the open court conversation, they don't mention Michael as a shit talker. And now maybe that's because all the dudes in the open court had been violated by Michael so many times that they don't even want to say Michael's fucking name. They don't want to invoke him. Right. He's become the man who shall not be said in Harry Potter, Voldemort, who I just said his name. He is essentially the Voldemort, you know what I mean? But every time I see one of these conversations about the biggest shit talker, they don't usually say Michael.
I've watched I think all of them. They usually do, but I think what happens is that question comes up often, and they don't want to just keep saying Michael over and over and over again, especially like when they have guys across generations.
That's true.
Like usually Michael comes up the first two people, like the Smitty thing that we talked about yesterday, where he's playing against Steve Smith, Fred, and he starts counting down from 50.
Yep.
Because that's how much he's going to score on Smitty that night.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like you have those moments, and it's like you can't bring that story up every time. So you have to talk about other people. Plus, they're probably getting shit in their earpiece like, all right, enough about Michael, talk about somebody else.
Yeah, you know what, though, too, because like it feels like Michael, when you trash talk and back it up, there's almost a degree of like, okay, it's true, right? So it's not that much like
not necessarily trash.
But when you hear about like the stuff like Kevin Garnett, like all the the Cheerio thing and all that, like that's wild. Yes. And like you think like weird. like you don't really hear about like Jordan going through that like type of weird type of trash talk. It's just more like kind of like on performance and him being cocky. Whereas like some of this stuff, like I don't know, like some of the stuff you hear about like some of these dudes was like insane. So I guess like that's not why Jordan is kind of like he is the poster child, but it's like it's always in his greatness. Like it's when he closes his eyes, like like that type of stuff, or he figure out it's all like backed up. Whereas he
got a technical for that Mutombo thing?
No.
Really?
That's bullshit.
You know what that is?
How did Mutombo never get it? Mutombo did it. Mutombo did it to everybody. He didn't get no text.
You know what that is? But that's the coffee black alley-oop.
Two fouls.
You know what I mean? Where it's just you see somebody do something so great, and you don't. It was just a foul. Technical. Tee him up.
It was an inadvertent whistle. They had to explain.
What was that? What you doing? You know what I mean?
He like coughed. He like and the whistle went off.
Let's talk. Let's go off. I want to go off top because you mentioned KG, and I just want to say two of my favorite shit talking things. Okay, real quick. KG. Anytime anyone mentions KG shit talking, my favorite one to bring up is the Charlie Villanueva thing.
That's a bad
where
one,
he says something about Charlie Villanueva looking like he has cancer, right?
Yeah.
And it comes out. KG's response is no. I say he's a cancer to the team, and it's like no one believes you, Kevin. Fuck out of here. There's no one here who believes you. We know you 100% said he looks like he has cancer. But then my other favorite one is
the mellow one.
No. Is Larry? I want to go back to Larry. I don't even know. You can pick and choose. The I'm gonna shoot all left-handed this game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is to what you said about MJ. MJ backing up the shit talk. Larry is the legend of doing that. You know what I mean? Is I'm gonna shoot all left-handed this game, or the 3-point contest. Who's coming second here? Or even he has a moment in the documentary, in this documentary, when they're doing the All-Star game. That felt like Larry. He's coaching and he says, well, we're all here. We might as well win the game now. You know what I mean? That feels like the type of thing Larry would have said when he was playing, and they were going to go out. Let's go win this game real quick. You know, it's like, well, we've all shown up, so I guess we'll win now. So yeah, I just wanted to I don't know, talk some favorite shit talking ones. I don't know. You guys want any shit talking ones you think about? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I took it back real quick. I gave you the mic, and then I said give me the mic back real quick. It's because the reason why I mentioned this is because maybe I'm wrong. But it doesn't look like anyone does this today. You know what I mean? And like Steph does little
let
things.
Me explain,
like,
let me
Steph
explain.
Looks like he's always having.
Let me explain.
He plays basketball like he's
celebrating. Yeah, they're celebrating. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he plays like but I don't see.
Let me explain.
Like Chris Paul shimmy.
Let me explain.
You know,
what a motherfucking shame.
Previously, but you don't really see like. I want to see LeBron do it. Like LeBron, come out one day and say, hey, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this game. I'm just gonna shoot a behind the back shot today. You know what I mean? The closest thing I can think of LeBron doing something like this is when they eliminated the Cavaliers 2 years. Not the Cavaliers. When they eliminated the Raptors 2 years ago, and it looked like he was just fucking around the whole game and scored like 40. But I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about, because I don't see a lot of players that really just like impose their will. You know what I mean? That way, at least.
No, they're all friends now, so it's not the same. They're not gonna talk shit to each other in that way.
Yeah, and it's like you know, back in the day, it was like a tactic. You know, like sure. I mean, KG, like that's like his tactic. Like he wanted to get in your head, and then you know, like these guys were going to war. You know, it was. I feel like some of it had a lot of like that was like how they felt. You know, like it was like I don't like you. I hate you.
Exactly, and that's why it doesn't happen, because they're all homies now. Remember when they built the statue of Dominique outside in Atlanta, and Larry goes, "I bet it's not in a defensive stance."
Yeah.
Like, no, they hadn't played against each other.
Yeah.
In like 3 decades, and he still got some shit to say.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just not. It definitely just isn't the same. And you know what's. Like this doesn't make any sense what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna give credit. I just love giving credit to Tim Duncan, so I'm gonna do it. And I just feel like Tim Duncan made it cool to not shit talk or react to shit talk at all. You know what I mean? Like, because KG essentially, I think KG would get himself out of the game by trying to shit talk Duncan, and he said something like that before about where he would constantly be trying to shit talk Duncan, but could never get anything out of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nobody could.
Yeah, nobody could.
Because that's his version.
Yeah, correct.
What more disrespectful thing can you think of you talking to someone and they don't respond?
And bust your ass though. That's the important part. You feel me? Which is again, and I gave credit to this LeBron a few episodes ago about how he's different than MJ in this. How now that's LeBron's thing. Somebody gets in his face and he walks away like he doesn't exist. And it's like that's a different level of disrespect, because it's like you're the best player in the world, and you react to me as if I don't exist. I guess I just wish there was a little bit more shit talk. You know, why not? Some gamesmanship, man. Get the fuck.
Absolutely.
Trae Young, talk some shit to Devin Booker. Both of y'all are trash. Both of you mean nothing to your franchises. Show up one day and score 60 on each other. For what? You know what I mean? Why not?
Yeah, no. I think that's what. Because you know what, it kills like it kills like storylines for you, right? Because let's be real, when it comes down to it, we're just watching grown men play basketball, right?
Yeah.
So you need to build like this animosity, you know, like sports is like a story, right? That's why I think it's really easy now. Like it's so easy to show like these battles, like, you know, from back in the day, you know. Because like there was like real like animosity, you know, with these teams.
Yeah.
Where I think it's harder now because like even when these guys lose, like in the playoffs, they're still homies. Like they're probably even chilling with each other after that playoff. You know, they lose in the playoffs.
2011, Eric Dampier is on the Heat. They lose to the Mavericks. Yep. He goes out and parties with the Mavericks
that night. Yeah, he's partying with them. But you know who I think is like that a little bit is James Harden a little bit. You know what I mean? Now James Harden is notorious to go to strip clubs, so I don't think like when he shows up at a strip club and the Warriors are there, it's not because he's there with the Warriors. It's there because he's there with the strippers, and the Warriors just happen to be there too. But he seems to not get along with a lot of these guys. Like he gets along with KD and them, but I think he views Steph as a rival. I think obviously him and Giannis been talking shit, been throwing barbs at each other now for 2 years.
I think Giannis is the actual one.
Hey, Giannis is like that too. I think they're both like that actually.
Because like James has friends in the league. Yeah. Giannis turns down invites for those group workouts.
But until he goes to the Warriors, and then none of that shit matters anyway.
We'll see. I kind of find it a little hard to believe, but
we'll
see.
Listen, we thought KD was like that at one time. I just want to say
but
that.
it makes much more sense though.
In retrospect, it makes much more sense.
Yeah, but see, fool me once. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I
got now I'm looking for the sign. One of my favorite Scottie Pippen like moments outside of a game. They re-showed it in episode 8 when he puts the Jordan 10 into the camera and he points like come here. I fucking love it. Like that was absolutely perfect by him.
Yeah. That was almost its own commercial. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's literally its own commercial. But it's also him saying like, we suck, man. I'm not good enough for this shit. Please come back. You know? I don't got what it takes, baby. Like, jump, man.
I love that jump, man. I love that moment, man. I love that moment.
But speaking of great Scottie moments, we get to see Scottie. No, was this episode 7?
When he dunks on Patrick.
That is the most vicious fucking dunk. That might be the most vicious dunk in NBA history. Blake has a couple that are up there for sure. Blake has done some disrespectful shit to people. But see, it's different. Blake has done disrespectful shit in a way that's like, I need to boost myself a little bit higher, so I just happen to shove your fucking head down and dunk on you. Scottie is, I'm just dunking. And you just happen to be in my fucking way now. You know what I mean? And then it's the drop and the push and the...
No, I saw hate.
Yeah, no, but it's almost similar to the Shaq dunk when Shaq dunked on who did Shaq dunk on?
Chris Dudley.
On Dudley, Chris Dudley when he dunks on him. It reminds me of that, except that Scottie is not Shaq and Chris Dudley is not Patrick Ewing. You know what I mean?
No, but that dunk is so much funnier though because he does it. He throws his nuts into his chest and then he kind of like pushes him like a cartoon, like a fucking Kool-Aid man. Runs away.
Yeah. No, I mean, but that is, I don't know if that's Scottie's greatest play or moment, but it's probably not his greatest play. I don't think dunks are ever the greatest play.
Bro, that might be his greatest play.
Because what I'm saying is like there's probably some fire Scottie. I'm always more impressed by a fire pass. You know what I mean? Like we talk about great MJ moments. They showed it. I think it's episode. Against the Hornets. The pump fake one hand. Fake turnaround, fake pass, and then wrap it around to Luke Longley. Like that is a play that I fucking love. Like I love plays like that. When Luka does that now, I fucking like love it. I love when Chris Paul does shit like that. When Ben does it, I love it. Dunks are like, I'm never that impressed by a dunk. You know what I mean?
But on Patrick Ewing,
it's fantastic.
Had hate behind it, and he said, "I'm no matter what." Something like I'm gonna run into this dude. Like he had no fear of that moment of getting blocked, and he just yammed on that dude. And like
I'm surprised the ref didn't call an offensive foul there or something like that. Like wait.
Yeah, no.
You can't do that shit.
Nowadays they would have ruined that.
No, today would have been a technical.
Yeah, it would have been. Or they would have called an offensive foul or something like that.
It was after the play.
How did they not call?
No, but I'm saying because Patrick goes up vertically. I think you know what I mean. I don't know. I feel like they would have called it offensive because I don't know sometimes what refs are doing today.
It was after the play. It would have been a technical. You can't call offensive foul after the play.
Like did they not call? They didn't call. They didn't have a call on Shaq when he did that to Dudley.
No.
They call it a foul on Dudley because he threw the basketball, right?
yeah, exactly.
No, but that was also around the time where they were trying to protect players from landing on other guys. You know what I mean? Even though Shaq is Plymouth Rock. You know what I mean? We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Shaq is that to a lot of players in the NBA.
Yeah, that was mad disrespectful by Shaq.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Listen, he connected on a dunk, but can never connect on a punch. So I'm sorry. I don't even know why I do these things.
No, dude.
We found out last
happy
week.
That he didn't connect on that punch.
Oh yeah, because that would have been CTE right there for that. Dude.
CTE
at the least.
He would have been dead. He would have been dead.
All right, let's talk about dead people. LeBradford Smith. I'm sorry. Again, I'm a hater. Poor LeBradford is probably out here living a good life, and I'm here saying that he's dead. LeBradford, another person in a long line. But so this goes back to the Mike's alter ego thing I said earlier. LeBradford Smith becomes a victim of this alter ego where there is a perceived slight. It's not even a perceived slight. No slight ever happens. MJ perceives something that literally does not happen. He uses it to get up, and then after the fact, essentially discards it because he knows it doesn't happen, but somehow makes it reality for a night. You know what I mean? Because it's a home and home. You know, the Washington plays in Chicago, then they go to Washington the next night to play the Wizards, and Michael then what does he do? He scores 36. 36.
Scores 36
by halftime.
Yeah, he was just short.
Yeah.
He was gonna. He said I'm gonna score what he had in the game in a half.
In the game, yeah.
And he did. He was a point shot.
Poor LeBradford never does anything after that again. Another victim of Michael's magic and LeBradford Smith.
I'm looking at his thing, man. Like he was hardly in the league. He by '94 he's playing for the Quad City Thunder, and then he's played in Spain and another country I can't even pronounce. So.
And then he passed away early.
No, he's still alive.
Is he?
Yeah.
Poor guy.
And as the last team he played for was the Baltimore Bay Runners. So, you know.
What?
That's
okay.
Baltimore Bay Runners.
But there's so many stories like this though.
Yeah.
Right. And we talked about this on our pod yesterday. And like there's literally almost an endless amount of stories. Mm-hmm. Like if you read enough books, you'll find all these stories, little things that he would just use to fuel himself. And this is part of the reason why like he had to go. There was nothing left for him to fuel. But
is this do we think this is what happens to Nick Anderson also? That, you know, we credit the Nick Anderson missing the free throws as to why his career kind of falls apart. But is it more do we think it's because he really faces MJ like in a tight moment and, you know, essentially stares the beast in the eyes and withers away?
Well, when you mean in the 96 season?
Correct. Yeah, even in the 95, even though they win, because that's when Nick Anderson in those finals is when he falls. So essentially going into the finals, he has a terrible finals.
Yeah.
In the finals. That's after they play the Bulls.
I think Nick was just overrated.
Okay.
But I do think that it was more the free throws because that's you, right? That's on you. And you can make those, and you didn't. But Nick Anderson was just overrated. I mean, it's just like Shaq makes other people look so much better, and Nick Anderson hardly ever had to handle the ball.
Yeah,
he just everybody got so many shots. What the fuck his name? Daniel Marshall, whatever the fuck his name is, like one of the worst sports commentators ever. Mm-hmm. Like. He's still living off that one season where he shot well off a 20-foot three-point line. Mm-hmm. Like that whole team is just not as good as people remember it to be.
Yeah, man, that's such a good point. That you know what? Because that is also, and I mentioned that Dennis Scott when we did our
Dennis
podcast.
Scott. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, Daniel. Okay. Daniel Marshall was a great shooter that we process six. He wasn't a process six. There's a little bit after that, but anyway, before the process. I'm sorry.
Before.
But yeah, no, you're right. I mentioned Dennis Scott, but yeah, he benefits very heavily with one of the most confusing rule changes that people forget. Ever fucking happens is that they shortened the 3-point line for whatever fucking reason, and now they need to extend the shit. So go figure.
Look, that's also the line that Reggie hits the 2 threes against the Knicks.
Oh, that's such a good point.
It's in the shorter line.
That's such a good point. Yeah, it's still a fantastic moment.
So
though. Let's not shit on that moment. We can shit on Dennis Scott. Let's not shit on that one.
But the point is that a lot of those guys on that team, their whole claim to fame was that one playoff fucking series against a Jordan that was playing basketball for like 2 months.
It's eerie how that Magic team mimics so closely the Magic team in 08.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Because essentially they all benefit from being next to trash Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the time, Dwight was good.
MVP candidate.
Yeah, but we need to say though he was good against centers because there was no fucking centers in the NBA at that time. Yeah. Dwight Howard today is essentially Andre Drummond. And that, you know what? It's the truth. It's a very good comparison.
And the East was kind of like
was trash. It was trash.
We didn't have any big men.
We had a great conversation. Me and Vic had a great conversation on yesterday's podcast, which was released. I see you didn't listen to it, but that's fine too. I like when Fred doesn't react. You know what I mean? Fred with the Tim Duncan. He don't give a shit. with the Tim Duncan reaction. But yeah, they were trash.
They weren't as good as people remember.
No. But they were. But what's eerie though is that they are eerily close. They could. A couple of things could have broke in both of those series. The one against the Rockets in '95, and then against the Lakers in 08. It's a lot closer than people remember. You know what I mean? There's a couple of things. It's like if it goes this way, all of a sudden it's a win. There's the Courtney Lee missed layup, which people now have a revisionist that it's a lot harder than it looked. Man, that should look like a gimme to me. But whatever. Point being is that they're eerily similar L's that the Magic take. And okay, yeah. So now, baseball leave. MJ goes. He comes back.
Right.
How much does the baseball strike have to do with MJ coming back to basketball?
I think, and this is just straight speculation because there's actually not a lot written about this that I've read, because I don't think it was like people cared that much if he because they were just so happy he was back, and I think ultimately, especially in seeing that he came back twice, in hindsight, that he was always going to eventually come back to basketball. He just sort of needed that time to like refocus and get out of the NBA limelight. But I think he comes back anyway,
regardless.
Especially when he sees how shitty they are without him. Do
you think he comes back maybe the next season though, if baseball doesn't go on strike?
Yeah, I don't think he leaves the Barons.
Okay.
I think he probably tries to get to the majors one more time in that year. He's not going to, as we've already talked about, because he needed 1,500 at bats apparently, and then that following summer, he probably prepares himself to come back.
Okay.
So the baseball strike probably makes his transition quicker, and actually might have been the best thing for him.
It's probably I'm about to say now, is that the reason why the 72-10 season happens? Because he comes back, faces disappointment,
right,
and says fuck this league, and the next year, is the great team. What do you think, Fred?
Yeah, no, I think I guess the way they frame it is like the strike gives him an opportunity to like play around, and it's like, I missed this.
Yeah.
Like he didn't think he didn't miss, like it's one thing when he probably didn't miss the grind and the stress.
Correct.
But the game
right.
and the competitive piece he missed, where he wasn't getting that from baseball. Because in baseball, you kind of almost have to dial back the competitiveness, right? You're just
different.
He's just trying to learn how to play a sport, right? So he's trying to be a student of the game more than like competing. And baseball is such a like one person type game,
slow. It's a lot of standing around.
Well, and more importantly, actually, I think the biggest difference between all the sports and basketball specifically is even because I think you're going to disagree with me when I say this, and you're going to say football is this way, but not completely, is that only in basketball or in hockey too, can one person physically say, I am going to now take this game by the horns and mold it in the way I want it to be.
I feel like that's only basketball.
Yeah, it's only in basketball. Okay, so I thought you might disagree in football because
No,
in football, like a defensive lineman, let's say, could say, "No, I'm stopping this play from happening." But if
they can't.
It's it's out of your hands.
It depends on the situation, right?
Unless you're a quarterback, arguably.
No, it's
quarterbacks don't play defense.
Yeah, no, but
for sure
the
not.
thing is,
no, yeah.
Football is the ultimate team sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have a line blocking for you, if you don't have guys that catch, you could be, Peyton Manning, and you're not doing nothing. Think about it. Peyton Manning had good receivers during his time.
Absolutely.
He's had good offensive linemen. So they put good running backs on him. It's not like he just had junk, with him.
Right.
Basketball, you could put, when you talk about, Jordan in the early years, and I mean LeBron, in his early years on those trash Cavalier teams, like he was bringing them teams, they were doing all kinds of stuff that they shouldn't have been doing, but he's that good.
Yeah.
To me, basketball's you could hit a home run every at bat. Doesn't mean you might win. You still might lose.
Yep.
So to me, basketball is the only sport where you could have one or two like great players and they can just run it.
Yeah.
You just need to be able to pass them the ball.
Which is funny because every time I hear someone say, well, like Mike Trout won MVP, I think it was last year. And again, listen, I'm not a baseball guy, but he won the MVP, I think, last year. And a lot of people were complaining about, like, how can he win MVP? I think they missed the playoffs. And it's like, well, because it's fucking baseball. And because, like, so much is reliant on the other 9 guys that Mike Trout can have a historic season on a losing team still. Yeah. You know what I mean?
If you're a starter pitching, if you start – and you win every single game, and you have no hitters every single game, and you guys still lose.
What are you supposed to do? That's why a Cy Young winner can have like an ERA sub 2, but then be like 12 and 11. And it's like, his hitters didn't hit. And it's in baseball, the equivalent of Mike Trout in basketball is the guy like LeBron who carries a team to the playoffs. So the point being that I don't think baseball could ever give MJ the feeding he needed. He could have given him the time. Maybe he gets great at baseball. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not going to play the what if, but it was never going to give him that because MJ thrived on I'm going to dominate this. You know what I mean? I'm going to stop you from winning right now alone, single-handedly.
MJ would have been the equivalent of baseball. He would have been the leadoff hitter, the cleanup hitter, the starting pitcher, the closer, your center fielder, your catcher, and your shortstop.
Yeah.
He wants to make all the plays the whole game.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's also time. Like, I mean, he probably had to think about it too. Like this, he's almost 30. He's 30
at this time. Yeah.
At this time, so you don't got that time.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I mean? Even if you're, if you have 2 more years, it takes you to 2 more years to like become like get into the majors, like just to even master. I mean, you're already on the back end of your career. You know, so it's also like an age thing, man. Like he probably saw like, like this is kind of like I started this too late.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And then him getting the taste of that competition was probably like he has an addictive and competitive like disorder. So him getting back to it, he was able to, he relapsed.
It feels good to do stuff you're good at too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great point.
To walk onto the basketball court, you haven't played in like 2 years. You're like, oh shit, I'm still better than all these dickheads.
Yeah.
And to be disrespected. I mean, let's not think he probably didn't. I mean, he said he didn't talk to Sports Illustrated again.
Yeah. Right.
After that, which is crazy because I still have 2 Sports Illustrated for kids when he came back, 2 different editions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I was, those are like one of my prized possessions, but it's insane. Like there's no way like a man of such pride could swallow that for like that long.
Yeah, for sure. And then he comes back, plays the Pacers. I think that has a lot to do with what later happens to the Knicks. I mean, they say that. Obviously, they say he comes back and doesn't have a great game. Then a few games later goes and scores the double nickel against the Knicks.
Well, in between that, though, he hits the game winner against Atlanta.
Winner. But I think a lot has to do with when you're him. It's almost it's funny because one thing that I see that I've been noticing is this trend in this documentary, outside of the obvious trend of how the episodes are directed that I completely missed, is that you see almost a perfect timing. And we've talked about this again when we said Outliers, to bring that back also, is this perfect timing that happens. So he comes back against the Pacers, and it's Reggie. Right. And they lose that game. He doesn't play well, but it's Reggie. Yeah. And I think that has a lot. That's a big fucking lighter for his fire. You know what I mean? As if he needed any more. Right. You lost to Reggie Miller on your first game back. I think that has a lot to do with what happens next. And even to the point when he plays baseball, he's managed by Terry Francona, one of the greatest baseball managers ever. Yeah. He's just surrounded by a lot of right timing things in his life. Even to Fred, what you brought up previously about baseball, just so much right timing, scores a double nickel against the Knicks. Goes into the playoffs. That's why I wrote down Nick Anderson, because I had to get myself to this part of the episode. Nick Anderson says it's not number 23 on the right. It's Nick Anderson who says that.
Yes, he does.
He's the one who said, it's not number 23. That's number 45. He can't be number 23. MJ puts on 23, bust their ass. That's why I said, could it have been Nick Anderson? In that was the beginning of what shows the end of his career.
Maybe, but I don't. But they win the series, and like, especially when after they carry him off, after carry Horace Grant off the court in that way, like I don't think that's bothering him anymore. Like I said, I think he was just not as good as people remember, and then the free throws is what ended it for him. Yeah.
I think he misses the free throws because of him saying that against MJ, and MJ and cursed him in some way. They play KRS-One, Step Into a World, which is my favorite. It's one of my two favorite hip-hop beats ever. It's like that and like Gangstar.
That was a banger, man.
Mass Appeal. Yeah, those are like two of my favorite rap beats ever. It's listen, KRS-One is very fucking overrated to me, and I don't care what anybody says. He is the most overrated good rapper. People always, KRS-One, great rapper. Listen, when KRS-One came out, there was like Rakim, and not to get into like a whole hip hop thing, but there was like there was Rakim, Big Daddy Kane. There were guys, people to this day, people rap like Big Daddy Kane and Rakim in a different way. Jay-Z raps like Big Daddy Kane, in fact, and Nas raps like Rakim. They're like the children of these two. No one is the child of KRS-One because all the children of KRS-One were bad rappers. So. Fuck
KRS, but no one thought KRS was cool though.
No one ever thought he was cool, but people always thought he was a good rapper. And I'm here to say that I'm here to revise the history that KRS-One is far overrated. He has Step Into a World, and then he ages poorly. Also defends. I don't even want to get into that, but defends Africa Bambaataa, and go read on that on your own. Yeah. You don't defend Africa Bambaataa. That's a disgusting thing. All right, so. Okay, we get to the finals. Oh, when does this happen? Does this happen? I can't. Oh, okay, I got it. I'm sorry. So we go into the finals, 72-10 team. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit on the timeline. This is how I wrote down my notes because I'm not good at this. 72-10 team. They see the.
Oh, wait. Before we get to the Sonics finals, right? I want to talk about they have the whole Warner Brothers thing in the summer, right?
Oh, shit, yeah.
And they come back, right? So everything I've read, and like it kind of culminates with the Steve Kerr story that we've heard a million times now, but for some people, it probably was the first time hearing about him literally punching Steve Kerr in the face. Is everything I've read about that time period is that Jordan comes back even more manic than he was previous to baseball.
Yeah.
And like, he basically talks about the reason why. It's like he's sitting around and he's seeing these guys feeling like they're benefiting from the cachet of his hard work, but didn't do shit to earn it. He's like, I got all these new guys on my team walk around like I'm a bull, but you didn't fucking do shit. Like that was all on my hard work, and that you weren't even around here to earn. So he's putting them through shit that he didn't even put previous Bulls teammates through. So writers talk about him being even more hard to deal with, if it's even possible to think of it in that way, when he comes back from baseball. And that's when, Scotty Burrell, the fucking
Got it.
Which was amazing. When he's punching Steve Kerr, you see him throwing elbows at Jeb Bushler and stuff like that, and he feels like, again, oh, I got to put you guys through the ringer because I don't believe you could do it. You guys didn't win shit when I wasn't here. But then also, I think the point that you brought up early when we started doing this, I think it's still very astute and carries throughout this whole doc, is that he can't just compete at a normal level. That he has to have the odds stacked against him, or has to feel like it's life or death for him to get to his best, right? He's almost like life hacking himself into a flow state.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, but also, you go.
But it's kind of like when, like, the guys who talk shit, like Michael, like Reggie, and Reggie talks about this in Winning Time, the doc. A lot of when I'm talking shit isn't even for me. Isn't for my teammates even. It's not even to get into my opponent's head. It's really for me. It's to get myself up.
Going. Yep.
Right? And that's what he's doing. It's his first season after getting embarrassed in a way that he's never felt embarrassed on a basketball court. So it's like now he has a whole different level. He's like, nah, I'm coming to fucking eviscerate everybody.
Go ahead, Fred.
Well, yeah, no, and like also, like I think there's also a sense of losing it, right? That I don't think he was able to tolerate. Like, not like feeling vulnerable. He said, I felt naked. And then he knew he had worked on his body to be a baseball body. Now he's working to get it back to a basketball body. It was going to be hard work.
Yep.
There's a level of desperation, right? Of being like, oh my God, like, and almost like panic, type thing. So I feel like he probably had that, also looming, like, cause he felt that loss, and like, when was the last, he didn't feel that in a long time. So, yeah, I think that was also like, he went into full cycle mode.
Yep.
That's such a good point, because he doesn't even invoke that phrase talking about his father's death. You know what I mean? That I feel naked. That's a thing you hear often, especially when someone's dealing with loss specifically, right? He doesn't even say that in terms of his father's death. Not to say that he didn't feel that way, but he specifically does say it in the documentary when he's talking about how he felt his body was responding on a basketball court, that he felt naked. That's a good point. And Vic, I'm glad you mentioned the Steve Kerr fight, because I was about to go this whole podcast without talking about it, because I didn't write the note down because I was like, well, I'm not going to forget this, but of course I forgot it. Yeah, punching Steve Kerr in the face. Now, again, let's go back again to the point about how this doesn't make MJ look bad, because then immediately after tells the story about how he called Steve to apologize, and immediately they talk to Steve, and Steve is like, yeah, I think it just made us a lot closer. I don't see how MJ looks bad in any of these two episodes. I'm done saying that maybe it's because we know too much. Even if a casual fan is watching this, I don't even think they're looking at this and saying he looks bad.
But again, we're coming from a perspective that this is the greatest basketball player ever. Do you remember, this is maybe like 4 years ago, at New Year's Eve, we're at Christian's house, and we're debating with John, his old head friend, about LeBron and Michael. And his wife goes, LeBron's a way better person, though. This is the person he's talking about.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So, yeah, I guess if people are delusional, that's fine.
But
that's not delusion. But yeah, I got
you. She's right in the sense, like, at least to a certain extent, right? Yeah. We've seen LeBron do things that Michael probably would have never done during his playing career because of the fear of what it might mean to his persona and his marketability to everybody. Right? LeBron is okay with pissing Republicans off. That's for sure going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, we are looking at this person is amazing. He did amazing, or at least he did amazing things, and we understand what it takes to get there, right? We are not everybody.
Yeah.
We're the vast majority of people that we talk about this thing. But out of the 7 billion people on the planet, I don't think they're like, man, you didn't have to punch that guy in the face.
Yeah. I don't think the thing is, I feel like it's really, I think he still looks bad. I mean, they're showing all the stuff he's saying, you know what I mean? And I mean, that doesn't look like you're the best teammate, You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like he's trying to manipulate. He's trying to like, he's trying to say, "Oh, I'm trying to get the best out of them." But like the thing is, those are things that like you can't defend. And like, he punched, and not only that, but he punched Steve Kerr in the face.
Which he does.
It wasn't it wasn't like he punched like like some
Luke Longley.
No, like even a tougher looking, like he didn't punch Charles Oakley.
So poor Luke Longley is not even a tougher looking person than Steve Kerr.
No, he's just a tall Steve Kerr.
Yes. Exactly right.
He's somehow a taller, less threatening Steve.
But yeah, no, and I actually read something about Luke Longley. They said, he's like really silent. Like we haven't seen any interviews with him.
We're not going to.
I think he was someone who, I think he's in past interviews, he's kind of brushed it off. But I think he's like, they said Jordan went in on Luke Longley, and he was part of that new group, and Luke Longley, and when they asked like why Longley wasn't in the doc, they're like, oh, because he lives in Australia. It would have cost like $10,000 a day just to film, the interview, all this stuff. And I really just think it's just that, like, he probably didn't have a good relationship with him. Yeah, you could play and win, but it's not, he might not, like, it's not my cup of tea, man.
But this is also all the stuff that we killed Kobe for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we got to remember that we were not Kobe Bryant fans, and I'm still not necessarily one to this day, but the stuff that would come out about the things he would do and say to his teammates. Well, look at this motherfucker, this piece of shit. Like, this is all stuff Jordan did.
Yeah.
And yeah, the thing is just Smush didn't win a ring with Kobe, right? And that's the difference, right? And not even just a ring, right? These guys won multiple rings with Jordan, right? So they can now see why this all had to happen. But for a guy like Smush, if Jordan doesn't win, all this is different, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's say the second three-peat doesn't happen. He comes back for 4 more years and doesn't win another one. Do his teammates talk about him differently? Is a Steve Kerr punch thought about fondly?
Yeah, right? It's not warranted no more.
Exactly. So, but it's still the same logic, though.
Yeah.
It's still all the same logic.
But to that point, though, you can't separate them because they do win because of it, right? Because Bill Wennington says it. He says, yeah, he was hard on us, but it worked.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, even saying if he doesn't win is not only is it an impossibility because obviously he does win, it doesn't happen, but it can't be separated that way because it did work. You know what I mean? And because with Kobe, what I feel about Kobe is it wasn't up until the point in 2008. It was not to 2008, but Kobe was not out of Shaq's shadow. He wasn't the best player on that team. You know what I mean? And people, I think at the time with the Smush Parker and all that shit, the Phil Jackson book and all that was happening, it was, yeah, you're good, but you won because Shaq was Shaq. And you're good for sure. You're special. No one's debating that, but you're Scotty to Shaq's MJ.
Yeah.
Let's even remember the book that you gave me, which I still have in my house. My father read the first chapter and put it away because it said Shaq was the greatest player of all time. Remember that book?
Yeah.
But that book was written. Yeah, that book was written in 2004 when it looked like Shaq was still peaking. You know what I mean? And so it's perceived at that time still that Shaq is like this. He's not I don't think if in 2004 no one was saying Shaq was the 10th best player of all time. You know what I mean? They were saying we don't know where he's at yet, but he could be number 1 by the end of this. You know what I mean? And now we say Shaq is probably out of the top 10. So the point being that I think that it's framed differently because Kobe still had not won anything, and even by the end of the career, I still pull all of his championships into question. You know what I mean? I call every one of them shits into question. So
yeah. That's all fair, but I think the difference. I think the point I'm trying to make is, if there's a formula, right? Okay. Kobe is trying to emulate this formula, and we give him shit for emulating it, even if it doesn't work. If I give you a recipe for the best fried chicken and it doesn't taste right, you're still gonna try it. You still had to try that formula, right? Like the results. The results kind of don't matter in the situation where he's just emulating what he thought was right, and everybody said he was wrong.
Yeah, bro. Like, what are the when a lot of stories behind like the greats that we know, like just even across like different genres, like sports, music, whatever, there's always some sort of like emotional abuse that like really gets people going. You know, Michael, it's insane to say, but like Michael Jackson isn't Michael Jackson without, his insane dad.
Yeah.
Who was like emotionally and physically abusive. And like, I'm not that I'm promoting it, but I'm just saying like you see this type of behavior almost like people excel at it. One person said, like, one of the things that makes some athletes so much better, poor athletes tend to be better, like these, than a lot of people who have everything, because there's just like this, especially like people who come from the hood, there's like this already like sense of competition and survival built into you, because of like your environment. And when you don't have that type of like stressor, like you really don't know how to even compete with someone who had that. You know what I mean? So
you got more to lose.
Yeah, you got more to lose, but you're also being more comfortable. And when I'm in, I can play, I'm enjoying a game, this person's like, this is this is the way I eat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this is how I eat, and that person is this is their leisure.
And
right. They have more to lose.
Yeah, and it just seems like that type of behavior is even in sports, and even basketball,
especially basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah, and this is great because Vic, we had this conversation yesterday, but got cut out of the pod, and this is good that you brought that up. Is we talked about how culturally this does happen. That person, and I compared it yesterday to the George Lopez joke about the damn, I forgot the joke again. What is it, Vic?
He's talking about how Latinos can be insecure, where if you can't go anywhere unless everybody's coming with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, wait for me.
Yeah,
I want to go too, but you gotta wait for me. Make sure
wait for me. Yeah.
But you don't always believe that they're gonna wait.
Yeah. So it's that exact, the same thing that fuels that joke is what fuels, I think, a lot of the drive for a lot of guys who come from these fucked up neighborhoods or fucked up backgrounds. It's that insecurity, the insecurity of my ability to eat or live a good life at all will fuel me to become great at whatever I'm gonna do. Yeah.
All right, the finals. I want to talk about these finals, though.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, because I don't even remember how we got to this conversation.
Well, I wanted to backtrack. You jumped to the '96 finals. I wanted to talk about how he was an even bigger maniac when he got back from baseball.
Bigger maniac, back from baseball. Yeah, I don't think he looks bad. That's my point. I don't give a shit what any of you say. Let's talk about the finals.
So we got to talk about how Jordan every time the director hands Jordan an iPad, it ends up being the best moments of the documentary.
Yeah, it's gold. Yeah.
When he hears that interview with Gary Payton, and he starts cracking the fuck up at Gary Payton talking about that he was going to give him all types of fits, and that he thinks if he would have started playing him earlier in the series, the outcome could have been different. His face when he says that, pure fucking gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting memed now.
Yeah, no, I love how he assigned it a title by saying The Glove. And then right under the title was the caption, I didn't have any problems with The Glove. Like, if it was a book, if it was the cover of the book is him laughing, the book is called The Glove, the caption is I didn't have any problems with The Glove. That's right under that.
Imagine though, you being a professional athlete and another professional athlete looking at you and dismissing you with a belly chuckle that he probably hasn't laughed like that in years.
So
that's so disrespectful.
Let's talk about this real quick because I wrote something down here and I actually tweeted this last night too. So either Gary has a point because those two games that he guards MJ does struggle. All right, his shooting percentage drops. So either Gary is right, or are we saying that MJ threw those two games to win on Father's Day?
Oh no, I don't think that was the point. I think it's just it's human nature. like I don't know how many teams in the common era, and by common era I mean like when the ABA NBA merger have gone up 3-0 in a series outside of like in the either the conference finals or the finals and swept the series. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Even as like how much better some teams are. Like our 0-1 Sixers beat the fucking 0-1 Lakers. We were the only team to beat that Lakers team, and every West team was better than the Sixers.
The Sixers, correct.
Like it just becomes human nature to not play as hard when you know you're that much better.
Yeah. Unless it's LeBron. LeBron gets swept in the finals. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Swept? Oh, yeah, by the Spurs, yeah.
The Spurs and that Warriors team did they win game 4?
I don't think they swept them. I'm pretty sure it was 5 games.
It should have been a sweep. That's a gentleman's sweep. Anyway, go ahead.
But that's what I mean, though. It's kind of the same thing. It's like you're not other team has their back against the wall.
They're desperate,
right? They're gonna do other things, and it was also, and like we look at this differently because they won the championship. But right after the Warriors lost after going 73-9, what is it? They're tired. They're tired. The Bulls are fucking tired.
For sure.
They're fucking tired.
LeBron was fucking tired when he beat them. But you don't have to go into that. Yeah,
but I get it. But I'm just saying is like there's a lot more that goes into it. Like the spotlight was on them every moment that season.
Yep, correct.
So no, I don't think he threw the games. I just don't think he was as good as he was before.
I think I just think Gary gave him problems for those 2 games. You know what I mean? I think that's the truth. It's just the way that the documentary painted it is why I wrote it down. Because the way it was painted in the documentary was like, I didn't have any problem with the glove, lose game 4, whatever, and then Father's Day, and then he wins, and then we see the emotional moment at the end. It made it seem like they were implying in some weird way that it was maybe it's just fate that it happened that way. You know what I mean? But which is fine. But if you're gonna say it's fate, Fred, because I see you fucking nod just now, I'm about to go back into the Wayback Machine to 3 weeks ago when I said, "Are we saying that the Bulls are cursed?" And you said, "No one's gonna say that." Well, if you're gonna say this is fate, I'm gonna pull back out that the Bulls are cursed right now, and I'm putting that firmly back.
I didn't say that was fate.
You were nodding your head. I went into that whole spiel because I thought that's what you were.
Yeah, sorry.
I think Fred is so competitive that he was saying it's fate, but now that I brought back out the curse, he has decided to backtrack and say, no, fuck, I didn't say it was fate.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know if it was fate, but I mean, like how crazy, like to suggest that he might have thrown them games to I don't know. Like I don't think he's done. Listen, and I don't even know how important that was to that. Like, let me wait till Father's Day. And the thing is okay. And I think it's almost like wasn't it kind of like even framed as like an excuse of losing them games? Like
it was more like his father was on his mind.
That's how you viewed it. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that's the way the mom said
it. See, I took it as when he said I had other things on my mind.
Yeah.
Because I'm a terrible person. Again, I'm a piece of shit. I'm a hater.
You're like the only person that thought that.
And but listen, this is what makes me good at this. Because sometimes when I'm the only person who thinks a thing, it's a good thing. And I hit you with something out of right field. You're like, I didn't think about that. Like last week, I said Scotty looks bad. And you were like, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. I know, because that's what I'm here for. When I heard that about MJ, I said, oh, what else was on your mind, MJ? Throwing these 2 games so that you could win on Father's Day?
Wow.
I
think it was
an
excuse why he lost the games. That's what I saw.
That's fair. That's fair. Listen, I just want to give a different perspective. Want to frame it a little bit differently. That's all. Is that cool?
I mean,
can I do that?
Yeah. And the thing is, if it's hard to see where his mind is at. Like I know, me losing a dad who I was close to. Things like that can trigger you. And it's like you got like that choked up apple in your throat.
Yeah.
It could have been, I don't know if I had, if in a big moment, like when I got married, there was a I feel like in the wedding time, it was, I remember thinking about it, but not, to like a moment where I think it would have affected me for days. you know, or if I had to play a game or something. But you know, I don't know. It feels weird to frame that in Jordan's, because he did so much great stuff, and then all of a sudden now that's affecting him there. But you can't judge someone's, like, you know.
Yeah, you can't. How somebody. Well, again, maybe it's just that this is the point I'm trying to make. It's not that I believe he threw the games. I don't think he threw the game. I don't think MJ is wired to throw the games. However, what I am saying is, if I found out MJ threw those games to win on Father's Day, I would not be surprised. 2, I also think that just makes him look greater, because because it's basically him saying, like, I don't want to win today or tomorrow. I want to win on Sunday. You know what I mean?
I can plan when I win.
I'm going to plan when I win. You know what I mean? So I think it makes him look greater. But then the other side of it is I didn't have any problems with the glove is talk. He would not have had any problems with the glove if he kept going. I do believe that. You know what I mean? But for those 2 games, he had problems with the glove.
Yeah.
All right, Gary made it a little bit harder on him. They lose those 2 games, and that's it. You know what I mean?
I mean, but has he said, like, how many times has he said, like, yeah, this guy made my life hard already?
But that's my point. It's cap, is what I'm saying. Is when he said I didn't have any problem with the glove, I'm saying that's cap. It's either that's cap or we're saying that he threw the games. Which one is it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It does not have to be.
It is. It's only 2 choices. It's only 2 choices. It's only 2 choices. That's it.
No, he got double teamed like crazy in that series because they didn't.
He thought he was getting double teamed.
Nobody guarded Dennis Rodman for fucking 20 years.
It was the man. Yeah, but Sean Kemp hasn't guarded anybody for 20 years either. So
he basically called himself God. Okay, so I mean, like, you think he's gonna say that this guy
this guy had my number?
But I think the evidence to all this though is the sobbing scene towards the end of the episode where, and I heard a lot of people say this too. I have seen that scene of him laying on the training room floor with the basketball 100 different times.
Yeah, I never heard it though.
Never heard the audio. Yeah. I think, and that's the mind blowing part about it. I don't think anyone ever has. Like J.A. Donde, Michael Wilbon, none of these people had heard it until the other night. And it, as powerful as it was seeing it, it gets way, way more powerful because it's not like a cry. He is sobbing. Sobbing, like it's not just tears, it's you hear he's choking up on his breathing, right, his heart is palpitating, like it's that really, really hard cry that you almost never have anymore.
No, and that's exactly what I was talking about. When it came to, like, you know, in my situation, there was just something that triggered it, and it was before the wedding. And I think my mom and my sister gave me cufflinks with me and my dad's like on it. And I was good. I have been good all up to that point. That I lost it. I was uncontrollable. Like the same thing. Like you know, like almost little kid, baby, hysterical crying. And then I got it was like I had been holding it, you know, and then that wave of emotion just like rips you open, and I could see like that's, you know, in all the other pictures when he's winning, his pop is there. Like it's a straight trigger for him. So it's like that's something like you could straight relate to, and it makes it real, man.
Maybe
like that,
you know what?
like
even
when you had that whole.
No, to that point about the pictures, you know what? Maybe this is really the context that we needed. Maybe he was almost subconsciously afraid to win that game, knowing that would bubble up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I've cried like that so many times that it's not really surprising. You know what I mean? So I heard that. I said, this sounds like a Sunday night to me. You know what I mean?
But he's also a very paranoid, and not I don't want to say paranoid. He's also a very superstitious person, like a lot of athletes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like I'm sure, Fred, you had your pregame thing. Like I ate cheesesteaks before every game, which is like the worst shit ever, right? But that was just my fucking thing.
Oh, that's horrendous.
Yeah, but I remember it's different. Like I'm running up and down.
What he's trying to say is that he's not fat. So if we were eating cheesesteaks before a game, our metabolism wouldn't process it. He's eating a cheesesteak, boom, burnt off. You know what I mean?
All right, so But the thing is, right, he's very, very superstitious. And this is the first time he's going into a finals without his father being at the games, giving him the pep talk. Like, I remember one of the documentaries that I watched. It was against Portland, matter of fact. And he didn't have a good game. Mm-hmm. And he asked his father, what should I do? And he said, my dad told me she said, should I wait? Should I let the game come to me, or should I go out and take the game by the horns? And he's like, Dad's like, go get the fucking game. Mm-hmm. Right? So like something like that, like how many times do you think Michael Jordan needs someone to tell him to go score 50? Right? None of us would think he needed that, but he actually did.
Yeah.
Right? And the guy that was there to do that was not there anymore.
His dad was like a security blanket.
Right. Yeah.
And when going back to him feeling naked, vulnerable, like that's how you feel. Like, probably, like I think most people have experienced it when they were kids, when you went to school and your parents like left you. And you're like, oh, like that like separation, and that's what he had to be feeling at that moment. Yeah.
But can we address that the Sonics would not have won the series no matter how often?
No.
How long?
It's Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Gary's like, well, we would have, nah.
Sorry, no, it would have been figured out by Game 3. I think at the worst, I don't even think the Bulls would have lost. Like the Bulls maybe split 1-1 and then win the next.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like they were up 3-0, Gary.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it wasn't like it was like a split series or something. They bust y'all ass 3 times straight.
But listen. But to the point, the other thing I wanted to say, though, is because I said this on Twitter, too. I don't think a lot of people understood Gary Payton. You know what I mean? Because people were treating what Gary said as if somebody said he took an L. And I'm like, I don't think that's an L. If you know Gary Payton, if you follow Gary at all, this is right up Gary's alley of things to say. If this is an L, you got to go backtrack and give him 100 other L's. But this is how Gary Payton gets up. This is what made Gary Payton Gary Payton.
And every other competitor for that matter.
Yeah,
and he was a confident person. Like
that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure there's a moment in the 06 finals. He has a moment in the 06 finals where I think he, like, down the stretch of one of the games, he starts taking a bunch of shots. And people are like, what the fuck are you doing, Gary? Give it up to Dwayne Wade. You know what I mean? But they to his credit, they win the game. He scored, I want to say he scores like 20 in the game. But it's to the point. I don't know why I know so much about Gary Payton. I just think he's like fascinating and shit. You feel me? Like I wish I was that confident at anything. You know what I mean? And like, so that's the point. I think if you just follow Gary at all, you know that this is like right up Gary's alley of things. Like you 100% believes that. He probably called up Michael after seeing Michael laugh. And so Michael, I will lock you up right now if you want to play. I'll fucking lock you up. Your eyes are yellow, and I'll fuck you up right now.
Yeah, a lot of the dark-skinned people.
Yeah, now and
also looking good in this.
But let's also to point that out real quick. People keep saying that it's because Michael's an alcoholic, but they just don't know anything about science. And like people that have more melanin in their skin, this tends to happen when they get older. Yeah. This is like happens to a lot of dark-skinned people. This is not anything fucking new. It's not because he drinks a lot of Hennessy, which is like the current thing that was Michael's just addicted to Hennessy. It's like no. Just because Hennessy looks yellow when you're throwing it up doesn't mean it's gonna make your fucking eyes yellow, asshole. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's just fun. Well, I mean, like he doesn't help his case.
Oh, yeah, maybe if he drank more vodka, his eyes would be clear.
Or maybe have a glass of water next to him.
No. This is the thing though. There's not multiple interviews.
It's just one. Yeah,
it's
correct.
One 11-hour interview.
Well, no, there's 2. Well, unless he changes his clothes.
No. There's one 11-hour interview, and then like a month ago, they did one more interview, and it was like a half hour, and that's the one when he's in the long sleeve.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the rest of it is it's just that one. It's one glass that they keep showing over and over.
He's feeling
that could be true. But let's also remember how many times do you actually see him even during the footage from back in the day?
Do anything healthy? That's true.
No. I know that. Yeah. People don't get it. He would smoke on the way to the games.
Yeah.
And then
crazy.
And then drink beer right after. They would get twisted on the bus and then tell Jerry Krause he's a short fat guy the whole ride back from the game.
Yeah, that's
wild. They weren't lying.
Yeah. But to your point about Gary, Then you have my man Reggie Miller come on and say he thinks the Pacers were a better team than the Bulls in '98.
Look, he has an argument. He has an argument. No.
No, he doesn't.
No. He has an argument saying that from.
No.
He has an argument that from three. No, you know what? He has an argument if. Okay, I'm gonna give you the argument for Reggie. Okay, right. Just give me a second. Let me get this together. I gotta put some. Let me put some rules in place here. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't compare MJ to Reggie, right? So MJ, just remove him real quick from the equation. If Reggie, I'm just saying, just follow me here, motherfucker. Don't stop asking questions. Just listen. Reggie and Scotty, right?
Wait. I gotta take away MJ, but I have to leave
MJ
Reggie?
out real quick. Take MJ out real quick. Reggie and Scotty, and then the roster down. The Pacers are a much better team from two on down. If Reggie's 1 and Scotty's 1, from 2 on down, they're better. You understand what I'm saying here?
Yes.
So you could argue that the Bulls have the best player in the series in Michael. Then whether Reggie is better than Scotty, man, even that's kind of hard. That's like a harder stretch.
I'll be honest. I want Scotty.
That's what I'm gonna say. But Scotty doesn't make that Pacers team better. I don't think. If you replace Reggie with Scotty, they need Reggie scoring.
No, you're right. They still need a score. But that's
my point.
I know.
I think. Yeah, go ahead.
This is now you're making it semantical. But like it's now you're changing the argument of how I have to analyze a team, and that's bullshit.
I'm trying to help my man Reggie out.
No, fuck Reggie. Listen, you just astutely made the point that basketball is a sport where one guy can affect so much.
Correct.
And this is why.
Correct.
This is why the Bulls were always the better team.
Correct. Yeah. The argument. But listen, that Pacers team is great. It's not great. It's a very very good team.
It's a good team.
It's a good team. It's Mark Jackson, Reggie.
Mark Jackson's overrated.
Okay, second and all.
Mark Jackson was overrated.
No, I don't give a fuck.
Second all time in assists. All right, listen. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Second time all time in assists.
Right, great.
And it's not like he played with great shot makers all the time. You know what I mean? It's not like
he played with a lot of them.
Reggie's percentages are not fantastic. I'm just saying his shooting percentage is a little bit overrated.
Before the time period though. And then
I guess, but I'm just saying.
And he also he was.
But what I'm saying is John Stockton got a lot of assists because Karl Malone was a guaranteed bucket. I'm saying that Mark Jackson doesn't have guaranteed buckets all the time.
They also play for both of those guys play for like 150 years.
Stop using logic real quick.
They're both actually kind of overrated, especially Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson could not.
Both?
Him and John Stockton.
Oh, John Stockton. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. No, I love Reggie Miller. But Mark Jackson couldn't even dribble the ball up the floor with his left hand. Yeah. I'm not hearing this bullshit.
Chris Dudley.
He essentially, I feel like
Detlef Schrempf. No, Schrempf is not on. Wait, is Detlef Schrempf on that team?
Well, we're talking about 97, 98?
98 Pacers, yeah.
97, 98 Pacers, Travis Best, Edric Bohannon, Austin Crozier.
They had Chris
Antonio Davis. Yeah, they had Chris Mullen, but he was old. Fred Hoiberg, Mark Jackson, Derek McKee, Reggie Miller, Chris Mullen, Mark Pope, Jalen Rose, Rick Smits, Mark West.
It's a deeper roster. That's the point I'm trying to make. They have a deeper roster.
Bro, you are highly underestimating Tony Kukoc too.
No, that's fair. Okay, that's fair. But the Pacers still have a deeper roster.
But so if we're gonna go by your argument, I have to somehow forget about the greatest player ever being on the team.
Right. No, I'm just saying the Pacers have a deeper roster.
Okay, if I take not now, it's just okay. Well, now
yeah, that's the point I was trying to make. Sometimes I forget how to talk. Okay, and I'm saying, well, if you take away 1 and 2, and then it's just that the Pacers had a deeper roster.
If I take Scotty and Kukoc and switch them with Reggie and fucking Mark Jackson, the Pacers are better now.
No, I don't think so because Scotty and Tony, I think we haven't found out yet, but I don't think Tony and Scotty like each other.
I don't give a fuck. They're still a better team.
No, if they don't fucking like each other, we know that's actually important too.
Yeah, for like forever, but for like one game, that team is better now.
Maybe. Fuck Scotty. I think you're overrating Scotty again. Scotty is never going to be properly rated. You know what I mean? I think what is going to come out of this. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in the next month. Is we're going to see Scotty get overrated for a bit, and then we're going to see Scotty get vastly underrated for a bit.
Yeah, but that's his life. That's just his life. But
I guess so. Yeah, that's true.
That's him forever. But I'm taking him over Reggie. Reggie does one thing. Fair. He does one thing, and I love him, but he does one thing.
I love Reggie. I love Reggie. Stop disrespecting Reggie.
I can take a replacement shooter and.
I take Chris Mullin over Tony Kukoc. I don't care.
Damn.
Damn.
And I'm taking what's his face over Luke Long. Why do I keep forgetting the name of
Rick Smith?
Now you're right. You're right.
Smith. I'm taking Rick Smith over. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the rest of like the Bulls roster.
Yeah, the Bulls have a roster. The roster is just a deeper roster. The Pacers had a deeper roster.
They did, but
and because Reggie, if you go into Reggie's mind, Reggie thinks he's as good as MJ, and he's saying, me and MJ cancel each other out. That's what Reggie thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So he's saying we had a better team.
Stupid.
No, it's still silly. It's silly, but I understand why he's saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But okay. Yeah, I mean, that's, so what do we think? So next, I guess you guys all knew what was happening. I just found out the other night.
Also,
go ahead.
We get 9 and 10, right? So we're going to get the 97, we're going to get them beating the Pacers in 7.
Yeah.
Beating the Jazz, and now we're going to have the culmination of the 98 season in 10. However, I heard the director on a different podcast, and he was talking about, hey, there's a lot of we want more, and we know there's some footage that you didn't use. Is there a possibility there could be more episodes? And the director says, no comment.
Okay, so episode 9, we're going to see the 97 finals then.
Correct.
What else are we going to see in that episode, you think?
It's going to be the whole Reggie Miller thing again. As much as I've liked these episodes, like I said, when we talked about it or when it first came out, episode 3 and 4 were kind of weak for me.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting episode 9 to not be as great. Because
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, just that Pacers series, even though it goes to 7, it's it's another one of those things with the Sonics when they won those 2 games and they try to make some kind of drama. Nobody thought the Pacers were gonna win.
No, but it was important because it looked like the Bulls were out of gas in that series. It looks like they're out of gas, and it took another Herculean effort to then beat the Jazz after that.
But they
just because they were so
exhausted.
Yeah, because they were so. I'm saying that they're exhausted. They're tired. I think is what the picture they're going to paint. That they're going up this mountain, and they're so exhausted up this trail. And then they finally pull it out. But can I spit out a hot take real quick?
Yeah.
Y'all ready for this?
I hate your hot takes, bro.
It's gonna get real hot in here in a second.
Yeah.
You might want to take that hoodie off. Has this documentary actually been good? Or is it that we love Michael Jordan so much?
I think collectively it's been good. It's just they did too much on some
Fred's face is cracking me up right now. Fred's face is cracking me up. He looks like he wants to slap me.
They just did too much on certain stuff. But the thing is, I thought you liked episode 3 and 4 a lot.
I liked episode. I thought 3 and 4 was better than 1 and 2. That doesn't mean I thought it was good. I thought it was better than 1 and 2. And I think episode 7 to me is the best episode so far.
Okay. I mean, I think most of it, at least 65% of it has been good. It's just the other bit of it is it just was drawn out.
What do you think?
And even the director, he said, I think it was end of episode. Well, episode 6 is when they finished with the 93, right?
Yeah.
93 finals before the death of his father. He said they added a lot more stuff from the 90s, the early half of the 90s in those episodes because there wasn't a lot of interesting things going on leading up to the 1998 playoffs.
Yeah, 97 is I feel like 97 is forgotten. It's like a forgotten year. I don't even remember that finals that well. And it's funny because doesn't he hit another big shot on Byron Russell or Brian? I always forget his fucking
name. No, the 97 is the flu game finals.
Oh, okay. That's the flu game finals. Okay. Yeah. I swear he hits a shot in the 97 finals on Byron Russell that looks a lot like the one in 98.
Well, I'm trying to think. He does hit a game when I just can't remember if it was that one. Are you talking about the one where Russell kind of like plucks him, and he has to like reach for the ball and takes a fadeaway by like the left elbow?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Maybe I just think it's at the same place.
Yeah, it probably is that 97 finals.
Yeah, I think that's 97
but the most famous game is the flu game, even though it wasn't a closeout game.
Yeah. Fred, am I wrong?
I would say, you see, again, it's hard. I'm enjoying it. To me, it is drawn out, though.
Yeah. You're not watching. I'm going to say, are you going to watch this again? And again, the MJ thing. The MJ thing is a shot in the vein. So sometimes, like, I'll just watch MJ shit because I love MJ, right? But
yeah, I'd rather just, like, to tell you the truth, man. Like a lot of this footage that hasn't been seen, I could just watch it unedited. I feel like I could just I just want to see like the conversations and all that. Those are the stuff that, I don't think a lot of people got to see, back in the day or whatever.
Yeah, nobody did.
Yeah, nobody did. So, I'd rather just like let them, maybe almost divide it. Like maybe there's time for a new doc on MJ, and just like had one just on his, on like kind of all the backstory, kind of just done that in one long one, and then maybe highlight, do this season, whichever season they have the most footage on. I don't know. It is for it to be 10 episodes. So what? We're at what?
7 and 8 just now.
7 and 8. So then next week is the last one.
Correct.
The last two, yeah.
9 and 10, right? The last two.
Mm-hmm.
How am I gonna feel after? It's probably gonna be crazy. Like when like this has become sort of like a habit, right? So you're like, dang, I wish I had more footage.
It's like Game of Thrones.
Because when they ran that shit into the ground, I was happy it was over.
Yeah,
but
you were
don't make me
hoping.
do it again. Don't make me do it again. I don't want to do another 20 minutes.
But
because I fucking could. I thought of so many things that I forgot to mention. Because I'm sorry, not to cut you off. Let me just give 1 minute real quick.
Go ahead.
Somebody could have watched what I released today about Game of Thrones, right? And said, "Oh, well, you only have one argument, which is when they go north of the wall and whatever, right?" But there's many other examples of where they fucked up. So I'm going to point out one other example, which is the loot train. You remember the loot train episode?
The what train?
The loot train. That's when the Lannisters pretend to go to where the fuck? I think they pretend to go to Harrenhal, which is their old home, and instead go to Olenna Martell, to the Martells, which is the old lady.
Yes.
They pretend to go there. They take all the money.
Right.
Thousands of tons of gold.
Right.
They then take it from there back to the capital. Who knows? Unknown length of time. Okay, they take it back to the capital. And Daenerys flies with her dragon and finds them immediely. The day of.
Yeah.
The day that they that they sack, because remember, Grey Worm is like defending it, and then he's like, no, this is interesting. No one came. Let me go back to Daenerys. Hey, Daenerys, they didn't show up. Daenerys, boom, back with the dragons, and they get to the loot train and blow it up. That happens in 2 minutes. So there's mad examples. I could go on all day. Go ahead, Fred. I'm sorry.
Let me just put it like a little. I hate when you talk about Game of Thrones. I hate it.
Yeah, because you didn't watch it.
I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah, you didn't watch it.
You got time, bro.
I can't even use I know. I'm gonna have to catch up. But the problem is, because then I know. No, the thing is, I haven't watched it because I thought it was like horrible or whatever, or I was just trying to not like be like everybody else. I actually saw for season 1, and I thought it was amazing. I just like got lost. Like I didn't watch the next season, and then I just put it off. So the problem is, I feel like I'm gonna get all juiced up on it, and then it's already like
I see. So you hate when
But I think I could talk to Brian about it because it's like so fresh in your mind right now.
Yeah, no, I remember everything. It's seared into my fucking mind, everything that I'm angry about.
Well, we talk about it a lot. It just you don't happen to be a part of it. But Brian also read the books, so
yeah,
he has more detail.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, I mean, he's a big fan. He's a big fan.
I am.
So
I'm a Game of Thrones nerd.
A big fan? You really, Fred?
Oh, is that a fat joke?
Really, Fred?
No, Victor turned it into a fat joke. You see, but this is more of Victor's fat shaming. He's been doing this all day, and he want to act like he not. The cheesesteak comment. You know what I mean? I got you.
Fred, that's a bad joke, Fred.
Go ahead, Fred.
It wasn't even a joke. I just said you're, a huge fan.
You see, and now you know what.
No, I just built off of that.
How's it going? Just said you were a huge fan. How's it going?
He encouraged it. I didn't mean it like that, but then I just went with it.
Yeah. Right, make your point. Make your fucking point, Fred.
I don't even know what my point was. I just don't like all this Game of Thrones talk.
Okay, we were talking about the length of the documentary.
Yeah, no. I mean, all the episodes I enjoyed to some extent. It's not like even at the worst episode, it's not like I wanted to turn it off. I still watched it, and I was entertained, but I think it is it's a little drawn out, and I just really like, for me, the constant, I think I could have dealt with, like, again, like I said, one documentary just kind of like recapping like his history, like the backstory, and then just going full in on that season with like just all the footage back to back, all that like newer footage back to back that like people haven't seen. Right. So I guess, I think it's good, but it's not where I'm not gonna watch it again.
Yeah, it's too long. This is the problem. You know what? This is the problem with streaming, I think, generally, is that and this is happening. This is far more apparent in music, I think. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's apparent in both, and I just don't pay attention enough to like to the numbers, like the Netflix numbers and shit like that. Mm-hmm. But there was like to the credit of Pusha T, who handed Drake that L. Even though honestly, I could do a podcast on how I don't think he handed him that L, but we won't get into that right now. Yeah. When that summer, Pusha came out, Pusha and Kanye came out. They were all coming out with 7-song albums, and they asked Pusha, "Why are you only doing 7-song albums?" And Pusha answered. He said, "Because," and this was a slight at Drake, who was literally later that summer coming out with Scorpion, which was a double album. He said that artists are trying to juice the numbers by releasing really long albums to up streams. You know what I mean? So this person in a month gets 100,000 streams all of a sudden, but his album is 25 songs long. So if it was a 10-song album, maybe he would have gotten 70,000 streams, but it would have been quality. And that's happening here with documentaries too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Again, starting with Making a Murderer, where it's like, wow, you can see what an 8-episode docuseries can give you, all of this attention and all of this, all of this stuff. But it was 8 good episodes is what they don't understand. And then the second season was still good. Right. You know what I mean? So when you have 8 episodes worth of content, sure, you can feel it. This goes back to my argument about Tiger King. That was too long. You feel me? You didn't have 8 or 6, whatever, however many episodes of content worth watching. And I think that's happening here. Yeah. I love MJ. So you can give me 100 hours of MJ and I'm going to watch it. But that doesn't make it good. You know what I mean? Because once the novelty wears off, if the novelty wears off, I don't know. That's really the question. And if the novelty wears off, if this was a 10-episode documentary about LeBron, who I find as a less compelling figure, telling the same stories, I wouldn't like this at all. You know what I mean? So
I mean, Netflix helped create it, so I think it's fair to say almost every Netflix series is probably at least an episode and a half too long.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Netflix is 100% help create it, so they want to stretch this shit out because they know what that means. Yeah, no one's gonna watch 8 episodes and not finish the last 2. You're almost forcing people into a position that if you bought in episode 1 and 2, because that's what they've learned, I think, right, with the streaming wars and all that, is if you got me in episode 1, I gotta finish it. I gotta finish it now. You know what I mean? Even if episodes 2 through 8 are trash, I gotta finish it. You know what I mean? And that's like, and it's not that this is trash. It's not trash, but it's just, it could have been put it this way, every week could have been one episode, and it would have been better, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
1 hour episode, it would have been better. You could have put Dennis Rodman and Phil together. You could have put the first episode of Scotty together. You could have put last night, the father and the winning and all that together. And next week could have done 97 and 98 together.
Probably. Yeah. No,
or you could have just, and also you could have probably, if you were gonna go the 10 episodes, you could have even added, you could have fit more stuff. Because like you said, like there's certain things aren't really talked about that much.
Correct.
You know, like, so you could have just jam packed it. But I think also it could be like some sort of thing, like just to get like more streams and all that. But also like what I'm kind of confused is why are they doing 2 episodes at a time? You could have drawn this out for a whole season. You know what I mean?
I'm confused by that too.
Yeah. And so, I think that's, I don't really know. But one of the things though too is you have to remember, like, in a lot of people are moving, a lot of storytellers are moving away from the like traditional movie, trying to give like a story just in like an hour and a half, 2 hours, to going to these long, to these episodes. And like sometimes they don't execute properly. You know what I mean? It might not be like a numbers thing, but sometimes it is, and sometimes it's a budget thing. Like you only have so much money, so you run with with your budget and all that. So I mean, we shellac, like when you get addicted to a series, like, I mean, you're done in a day. So I think Netflix just has to keep you wanting to pay for the money when in all reality they're an HBO.
And
they're not like what they used to be.
And not even as good anymore. You know what I mean? They're just not coming out with that much fire. Listen, brevity is the soul of wit. That's what my man Billy Shakespeare once said, and I live by that even in my sex life. I'm sorry, that's not a funny joke. It's not a funny joke. It was a funny joke, actually. It was just a little cringy.
Roll credits.
No, we're not gonna roll credits yet. Actually, I think we are, but I just didn't want to do it on your cue. You know what I mean? I didn't want to mic you. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of my face. That's what she said, though, about the roll credits. I'm sorry. I'm still going with the same joke. All right. I think that is pretty much it, though. I think we covered everything, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Anything else you want to add? No?
I mean, did we I mean, when we talked about, did we forget to talk about the when he created the like the Jordan Dome during Space Jam? I feel like we went over that real quick.
Because we talked more about it yesterday. We could talk about that real quick if you want.
No, and I mean the only thing would like, does anyone feel weird seeing like all the like players now, like when they were showing clips of like Juwan Howard like being a young man, like how I'm like, dang man, he's old, like he's like coaching now. Like
Juwan is still young. He still looks good though. I got, man, black don't crack. That's a fucking fact. You know what I mean? Juwan will still look good. You know what I mean? BJ looking good.
Yeah. And it was like one of those things where I was just like, I was like, dang man, like how the time has passed.
I pointed out yesterday, and thank God for Vic, because I was cracking on Sean Bradley. What the fuck is Sean Bradley doing here? But as Victor pointed out, he's in Space Jam, which I forgot because fucking I don't think Space Jam is good.
Oh, it's very good.
What do you mean it's not
good? It's very good, man.
It's a kids movie. I'm sorry, it's not Game of Thrones.
It's not even a good kids movie.
There's no wall.
It's not even a good kids movie.
It's definitely a good kids movie.
It's definitely a good kids movie. My son enjoyed it. Have you shown Lucas it?
I would never show him such trash.
That's child abuse.
I'll watch the LeBron one though. I bet that one will be good. You know what I mean? With a good
I would like to know. So now, I think is he finished? Did he finish filming that?
I don't know actually. I'm not
I would love to know. I would like to know what his schedule was making that movie, you know, because now we can compare it and be like, okay, so Jordan got this whole thing built for him, so he could do all this. Like, what you do, LeBron? Like, that's
I'm sure LeBron did.
Like, oh my gosh,
I'm sure he did something similar.
LeBron's like, damn, I was spending time with my family, you know, like.
But he lives in LA now.
Correct. Yeah.
So he doesn't have to have like a dome built. He already had, you know,
all the infrastructure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's actually lived in LA for a while. It's not just now.
This is the thing is like a lot of NBA players do spend their summers in LA.
Yeah, definitely.
No, it'll be but it was. I would love to see if there was more footage of those games. That would probably be fucking fantastic to watch. Sean Bradley.
There's not though.
Yeah, I know.
There's not though. Which sucks.
See Sean Bradley and his confused legs moving up and down the court, running like Forrest Gump. I'm sorry. Sean Bradley doesn't even deserve that. Well, like you know what he did to me? He disappointed me as a Sixer, as a lot of Sixers.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck him. Who cares?
If he could have just taken some of the weight off of Derek Coleman and Clarence Weatherspoon's faces, he would have been a far more superior player. But he just couldn't get that weight on him. Yeah. I'm sorry. Some of these guys don't deserve this treatment. Except for Albert.
When I played basketball in high school, I had a teammate that he was like the splitting image of like of Bradley, and like that's not a compliment, you know. Like so people were just calling him like Sean Bradley, like that's so like I'm like dang, and like I could push him around like nothing. Like
it's like when you called me a European player the other day. It's like I feel like I should feel good about it, but it is disrespectful in the connotation of what you're saying it. You know what I mean?
That was a good one.
Also, you're like a super skilled player who passes the ball and can handle, and you know what I mean. But there's but you soft, yeah. And I called you Charles Oakley, which is like a not very. Well, he was more skilled, but
you know, like Charles Oakley would be a perfect like compliment. Like I would love to be Charles Oakley. Like if someone called me Charles, I'll go, well, thank you.
Yeah. So you are a bully like that. You know what I mean? I can attest to that.
Yeah. You know, if you got to be good at something, you got to know your lane, bro.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
You're
true. I know my lane,
and I'm a bully.
You are a bully. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think we have anything else to cover. This will take me 2.5 days to get this moved to the other computer. You know what I mean? By the way,
I'm sorry for my internet.
Yeah, your trash ass internet. It's no problem.
I called Comcast. I'm waiting on the where I thought it was an instant when you tell them to up the speed. It's been a couple of days.
No, it was fucking.
All right, finish your sentence. Go ahead.
I got nothing about Comcast. Just whatever. There was someone. Oh, Fred, Vic, you can go. Everybody, goodbye. Have a nice night. Wash your stupid fucking hands. I'm sorry, I haven't even signed off yet. This sign off might not even be included in the actual episode. Who knows? But just in case it is, wash your stupid fucking hands. Stay at stupid fucking home. Stupid home. You hate your families. That's the problem. Love your families and stay at home.
Yo. Yo. Justice for the blind. Just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind. Used to come